Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. Today we have a special guest, and she'll tell us why the AFC North is the superior division in the NFL. We'll also find out what she thinks of a large black man charging her, as well as we'll find out what records should be broken and what records shouldn't be.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots.
You give us another quitter, we'll give you another Idiot of the Week.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome in. Today is Monday, December 30th. All you sinners, we are going to the quad box today. As you see, again, the podcast has gotten prettier because T.I. still has that nice light. That's the reason. No, just kidding. we have a wonderful Miss Kelsey here with us today. She's going to talk all things AFC North among a plethora of things. We have, holy cow, a full show. This is going to be a 24-hour Jerry Lee Lewis telethon, I think. So call in 1-800-SPORTS-IDIOT-NATION to make your donation. This is a telethon now. Kelsey, congrats. I don't think you knew that now. This is a 24-hour show, 24 hours straight. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Super excited to be here.
So,
24
okay,
hours.
let's get into first how this is a funny story. So a mutual friend on Facebook tagged you at a Bengals game, and then I saw that you had a podcast. So I'm like glue to people with podcasts, like, oh, podcast. Let me find out more about you. So then we started talking your favorite teams, which shout out to me as I am wearing your team's, the Bengals.
Of course.
It's not a San
Of course,
Francisco
Adam.
Giants.
Shout out to himself. Shout out to me, first of all. Shout out to
If
me.
you
Just for
didn't, if
me.
you didn't give yourself
Yeah.
a shout out, I was going to give
Yeah.
you one. So
Okay,
Yeah.
this
thank
works.
you. So
Covered.
you can go to the link in the show notes. The link is in the description to find a shirt that is just like this. This is in the AFC North. This is the Cincinnati Bengals shirt. Now, I double and use it as a San Francisco Giants. That's neither here nor there. So I am just trying to kiss up to our guest and show that overtime win we will get into. We have a lot to get into. First, Kelsey, I want to ask you, what was the favorite thing that you were able to give on Christmas?
Oh gosh, this year was a little tough. I was a little broke. So I actually wasn't that excited about any of the gifts that I gave. But my sister is big into F1. So I got her a hoodie that says Hot Girls Watch F1. And I actually forgot that I ordered it, got it in the mail, opened it, and I was like,
Like, what's
is this for me? Did someone get this for me? And then I remembered that I got it for her. So I was excited about that one, but nothing too crazy this year.
All right,
Racing
I
Idiot
do like
Nation
that.
got that for you.
Yeah, shout out to, and we'll get into more of that too. Okay, so now let's get into the Cincinnati Bungles. Dun, dun, dun. How did you become such a diehard and a know-it-all for all things Bungles? And do you
I
like
was
that I'm calling
born-
them the Bungles?
I'm just ignoring that for now.
Okay.
But I was actually born in Cincinnati, so most of my family still lives in Cincinnati. I grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. But our family has had season tickets for 50 something years, so it's just in my blood, really. I just was born into the Cincinnati fandom, and the fact that I'm still a Bengals fan after how awful they've been for so long, I think it says a lot. So
does.
we're loyal. Bengals fans are loyal. We have that going for us. So yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
right.
So you are in the hometown of a 1 miles behind enemy lines and where I live now. So that's kind of our connection. All right. So Christmas, the funny thing was you guys saw this interview with LeBron saying that I love the NFL, I love it, but the NBA is still our thing. And 5 million people watched NBA on Christmas, and 25 million people watched Beyonce. So the NFL had 20 million more viewers, and LeBron had the audacity to say that, hey, NFL, this is the NBA's day. And it's like, no, it definitely wasn't. Even though the games were way better for the NBA. It was blowouts. I think, what team only scored 2 points? The Texans? They only scored 2 points the entire game, of safety, right? Like,
We're
what?
proud about
It's
it.
terrible. So, Kelsey, did you watch Beyonce perform, and what did you think?
I did. I didn't think it was
Of
bad.
course you did. None of us else did.
I wasn't like necessarily locked in on it, but it was on and I was there and I saw it and I didn't think it was bad. I wasn't like really critiquing it as I watched, but I did see she got a lot of hate on social media. Um I will say I love Post Malone. So Post Malone coming out really sealed the deal
Posty.
for me. So I don't have anything bad to say. I don't know how I feel about Beyonce in general. And I don't know how I feel about Beyonce doing country music in general, but I thought
That's
she
where
put
I'm
on a
at.
decent show.
Well, she's a performer, but yeah, T.I., as one who is from Nashville, Tennessee, you know, Miles is not from Nashville. So when you talk country music, I do count on T.I.'s knowledge. And I definitely think Titans Idiot Nation was not a fan of Beyonce doing her
I mean,
thing.
I don't care about Beyonce. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing as Taylor Swift. It's like she's there. She has millions of fans.
Mm.
She could probably win an election if she ran one. I mean, like she's a person. She makes music. I don't care. I mean, I'm not one of the single ladies, so she's not talking to me. All the single ladies.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, but everybody has a country album these days. Everybody does. I mean, Post Malone's got one, but I agree. I like Posty as well. He's a super talented dude. I mean, Beyonce's talented too. I mean, I don't think she plays as many instruments as Mr. Post Malone does, but hey, she's out there doing her thing. So sure, she got paid bukus of dollars by Netflix and the NFL to do that halftime show. And it's probably the reason why our Netflix subscriptions are probably going up this year, just to pay for that halftime performance. But hey, but I'm not a country music fan. I don't really like country music, so it's kind of like it's ironic. Growing up, I hated it, but now when I hear the stuff I hated as a kid compared to what's on the radio today, I'm like, oh, hey, that stuff wasn't so bad. So I guess I don't necessarily hate it per se as much as I'm just not a huge fan of it. But I think once like groups like Florida Georgia Line and stuff started popping up, I think country kind of started taking a nose bomb in Nashville. It doesn't have the same like.
It's kind of fake.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, it's not as
so
genuine.
poppy.
Like Johnny Cash. Like Johnny Cash would totally, do a tombstone pile driver on both members of Florida Georgia Line. So, but yeah, I mean, but it was fine. I mean, whatever. I didn't really watch it. The game was a blow. What I thought was hilarious is the ridiculous Texans owner Cal McNair and his wife that never shuts up driving behind Beyonce coming onto the field. I'm just like, first of all, you're just the owner of the team. Yes, you have a lot of money, but you're not
So what are you doing?
You're not a pop star. You're not like why are you following behind Beyonce onto the field?
Well, hey, they own the field. They could do whatever they want.
I know it was Hannah McNair that was her doings. I'm sure. She's like, but I want to ride behind Beyonce. Where you own the team, make it happen. And I'm sure that's exactly how it went down. But yeah, that's what I thought was probably the most hilarious thing of it is the fact that like they wheel out there like there's somebody special. It's just like, you're just rich because your father was rich and you own a team. So.
And the fact that in the background it's like 17-2, they're losing like the whole time. That's just showing up.
Yeah, and they got their cute little H-Town jerseys on that look like they're airbrushed in Gatlinburg. With the history logo on there.
Don't get T.I. started, Kelsey.
Logo. Yeah, see, I made sure to wear my Tennessee Oilers
Exactly.
So,
Don't get
yeah.
Ti
Texans
started.
fans love Tennessee Oilers. That's their favorite team.
Right. Don't get him started, Kelsey, because he can just give a dissertation on the hatred for Houston Texans and all that.
It's
Back
not
in
really the
August,
team. It's just their fans.
yeah,
I get
back in
that.
August, one of our first episodes, I don't know how we started talking about this, but they basically, Miles and Ti as Titans fans basically said, if it was the Houston Texans versus the Satan, they would root for Satan.
Satan.
Because you
Because-
can't
because
root for Houston.
The
They're in our
University of
division.
Satan.
Satan, on the other hand, is not in our
Yeah.
division.
Yeah, Satan's
right.
not in their division.
Okay.
So
Well,
You said
and
the-
speaking,
the
and I do
Satan.
have to make one point on this. Speaking of Satan, I thought it was a bold shout out by Beyonce to Diddy for doing a white party during the halftime show. That was very blatant, and then obviously all the things her husband's going through, and probably she is as well, and their connection to all the ongoings of that. He's an
Yeah,
alleged rapper.
Yeah, Jay-Z
And
has
then
been
drop a
very
P.
quiet.
Drop
Jay-Z's
the
been
P,
very
yeah.
quiet, you know.
I think that was bad taste a bit. Not to mention her music sucks, but that's
Well, all the
that's
single
subjective.
ladies don't go to Diddy parties. All the single ladies don't go to Diddy parties. A lot of the single other guys go there, but
Kelsey is seeing how the
Allegedly.
show gets
Allegedly.
derailed quite often. So as I try and bring it back to the rails, let's keep talking NFL. There is a player, ex-player, in the history of football. I have never seen Jerry Rice, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Steve Young, whatever. I have never heard a single player say that they do not want their record to be broken. And I thought it was the weirdest thing ever that Eric Dickerson, in a 16-game season, rushed for 2,100 yards and has the NFL record for most yards in a season. And he admitted that he doesn't want it broken. And I'm just like, who hurt you, bro? Like, and I wanted to find out from Kelsey because I heard that you were an athlete in high school. And so I want to hear about some of these records.
Yeah, I actually have a lot to say about this because I
The
ended up
floor is
playing.
yours.
I played soccer at Ball State, and before I went to Ball State, I obviously played in high school. And my senior year, I set 2 school records: most goals in a season and most assists in a season in the same season. So great season for me. And your goal when you're like on that path of setting a record is to set the record. You don't set the record to eventually have it be broken. Like when you set the record, it's because you want that record. So anyone who says that they want their record broken, I think is lying, because you don't set a record just to like want it to be broken later on. Like you want to be a legend forever, you know? And I think you can be happy for somebody and respect somebody who breaks your record at the same time as not wanting it to be broken. Personally, I don't want anyone to break my record. So far, they haven't. And I when people are getting close, I'm watching because I don't want it to be broken. I would respect them for sure, but like I don't want it to happen.
It's gonna break out there like Tanya Harding, you know, if you get
Yeah,
close.
I was just gonna say,
Getting close to
Kelsey,
my
you
record,
need
I'm
to
gonna
be,
crowbar
you need
you
to be
real quick.
careful. You better be
To
careful
veto.
now that this is out there to the masses, that if someone were to get close and all of a sudden sustain a mysterious injury, you know
Brakes
who
go out
they're
of their
going
car,
to look at.
you know.
Like, or
Well-
if they come down with food poisoning
They
or
wind up tied to the train tracks. You know.
Listen, luckily for me, I live in California and I spend pretty much all of my time with my roommate, so I have an alibi.
okay. Which, let's get into that. Tell us real quick. We will drop the link in the description as well. But tell us where we can find you and tell us a little bit about your podcast and how it got started.
Yeah. So my roommate and I, Kristen, we started a podcast called Kouch Chronicles. K for Couch, K for Chronicles, Kristen and Kelsey, since we're all connecting the dots today.
Yes.
And basically we just like had this routine where every night we would sit on the couch and just yap away and watch TV, and we're hilarious. I mean, personally, we think so. And there were so many times where the next day we'd be like, we were so funny last night. I wish we would have recorded our conversation. So we were like, let's start a podcast. So we did. And we pretty much just yap about everything. We talk about dating. We talk about like lessons that we've learned, intentions. We talk about friendship. So we just really talk about life and how things are going. We'll do like life updates. Yeah, there's not really like a set agenda. We have talked about like scary stories. We've had friends like send us scary things that have happened to them and told their stories. So just kind of everything under the sun. And we just love to yap, if you can't tell.
Wow, two girls who find themselves hilarious and love to talk. Go on.
We are
tell me more.
original. I know.
Yeah. No, you have an interesting origin, and I know Miles is kind of smiling and laughing because it is our origin story. We were at a Buffalo Wild Wings, Miles and I, and two other friends, and all of a sudden, and Miles is my witness, we kind of stopped what we were doing because people at the bar were looking at our four top table and laughing at us because we were making them laugh. Like, we're like, oh, we're funny. We need to take this on the road. So we went to my buddy's apartment, got one mic, sat around it, and then brought up the topics that we had already talked about and rehashed them out and still managed to crack ourselves up to where we had, like, you know, those laughing headaches that you get. I'm sure you get this with your roommate.
Laughing headaches.
Where you just get a headache because you're laughing nonstop.
What's the
You're like,
what's
"Dude,
the
I gotta
technical
stop."
term? What's the technical term for a laughing headache? I need to know
It's
this.
like a brain freeze, but from laughter. Like,
okay.
It's
And
a
so-
psychotic
Gotcha.
break.
Yeah,
and
there you go. That's
again,
more like
Miles-
it. You just get
Miles is my
hysterically lose your
witness.
mind.
yeah. So that's kind of how we got started. And then, you know, fast forward, he moves to Tennessee and gets linked up with Titans Idiot Nation that has well over 30,000 followers on Facebook, and they got linked and then got me, and Sports Idiot Nation was born. Fast forward to the end of 2024, and here you are, Kelsey. So
Here I
you're
am.
welcome. So that is a funny story because
Just-
it is identical to yours. Like, that's
Just
pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, who are we to deny the world of how funny we are? Everyone
Right.
deserves to know.
Laughing headaches
Exactly.
for everyone.
Yeah,
Laughing headaches
we're all
for
gonna
everyone.
have 6-pack abs at the end of this by laughing so hard,
I love it.
Hey,
and probably everyone else who watches. So you're welcome for the abs, everybody.
that's right.
Yep, and
That's
to
right.
remain having the six pack, what you do is you follow us wherever you get your social media. So remember to follow Sports Idiot Nation wherever you get your social media, because just even yesterday regarding the Bills game, it was so out of whack that Mitch Trubisky played, and we haven't said that name in probably 4 years. And so all of a sudden he throws a 69-yard touchdown. So what do we have to do on Facebook and Instagram and all that? Make a post that there's a quarterback controversy. Obviously there's not. And Josh Allen will maybe win the MVP. We'll kind of get into that. But obviously there's no quarterback controversy, but it's good for a laugh to say that there is when Mitch Trubisky throws a 70-yard touchdown, when the New York Jets barely have even 70 yards total offense. So
The most hilarious part of that game was the fact that the Jets came out of the tunnel with like a boombox and they were blasting "Gangster's Paradise" by Coolio, and then they just proceed to lose by like 25. Like what? Like what are you doing? I mean,
they
I'm just
got a mercy touchdown.
Whose idea was that? I mean, is that really Aaron Rodgers' idea? Like who?
No,
Like it's
no.
legit. They come out like it's the Sharks versus the Jets. You know, like it's West Side Story. Got a little boombox. They're just come out of the tunnel and proceed to lose by 25. Like
Did not work
Old
out.
USC.
And "Gangster's Paradise" of all songs. Like what in the world? I don't know what's going on with the Jets.
Embarrassing.
Yeah. Somebody
Very
said
embarrassing.
the Jets finally got Aaron Rodgers, and that's the equivalent of finally hooking up with your high school crush when she's 40 with 4 kids.
Ouch.
It's like
Put her on
I
layaway.
guess you're right. That's a
That
good way
is
to look
very-
at the Aaron Rodgers tenure
accurate.
with the Jets, because
That's getting
it
a
is not
Ferrari.
been what they expected. You know,
It's getting a
Yeah.
Ferrari that's 25 years old and has 200,000 miles on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like the Ferrari parked out in front of the trailer park, you know. But yeah, I
rough
just
go
thought that
for
was
the Jets.
hilarious. I thought they just come out of the tunnel all like hyped up, like yeah, and then it's like proceed to lose by 25 points to your division rival. Like, nice work, you know.
So we're going to get into more NFL here in a little bit. I want to shift gears because I want to find out, since we have a blonde female among us, I want to tell you a story about a blonde female that I met a few years ago. This is crazy. None of you know this story. So 3 years ago, the Indiana Pacers, their team in the G League was the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. Now, some of you have heard of the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, especially Kelsey being from there and Miles living there before. So no big deal. But when you go to a game there, along with the 17 other people that like to go, and I mean that like literally, no one went to these games. The scoreboard at the very top, was run by a one Adam Marino. I ran the scoreboard. My buddy Dan ran the social media and was like director of ops and did some stuff, and we were buddies. And he put out a thing on Facebook like, we're hiring for XYZ, and I hit him up. I was like, dude, I would love to it's a free ticket to see Taco Fall. He's 8 foot tall. Like, he's never gonna make it in the NBA, but like, okay, I'll get a front row seat and just like hang out and meet some of the players. So I did. So I ran the scoreboard. And the coolest ref I ever met, her name was Jenna. And she was so professional, so nice, chatting us up always. Out of the 8 refs that I met, she was by far the coolest and the nicest. And she refed the game that Steph Curry hit the 3 to become the all-time 3-point. And I remember seeing her. They would go back between NBA games and G League games. They would do both. And I talked to her about it, and she said, oh, I was so nervous. I did not want to be there. We were short a ref because they got sick. So if you go back and watch, there's not 3 refs that game. There's only 2. It was just insane. Fast forward to this past week, she was the referee in question that Joel Embiid gets the offensive foul. They're going back and forth with Wemby. And he just, if you see the video, most of you have, he just runs up and at the last second sort of pulls back. Now, Kelsey, I have to ask you, you're on the soccer field, and let's reverse it. You're a soccer player. Let's say someone is coming to give you a yellow card, because let's be honest, to get all those goals and assists, you probably had to, do something, right? So let's pretend that a referee is 7 foot from Africa, just sprinting towards you. There has to be like a little pee comes out, right? At that point.
A little pee.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You're going to pee your pants a little bit, like, no doubt. I don't know. It's one of those situations where like you don't really know how you're going to react until you're in it. And I have never been in that situation, but I can imagine personally, I think I would freeze. Like, I think I'd pee a little bit, and then I think I would just be like frozen. And yeah, I don't know if I would be able to react quick enough, but I know that my heart would be in my butthole. I'd be so afraid. So
Such a lady. Love it.
Sense of imagery, top
There's
notch.
no other female we'd rather have right now in Sports Idiot Nation than you, Kelsey.
It's like,
Thank you.
I see that in like a very like scripted font. Like, my heart would be in my butthole.
My butthole.
Yeah, when
I
we
think
make that a
has to be a
reel,
new shirt.
Overlaid.
That might
over
be a
the-
new shirt on
Yeah.
Sin.
overlaid like over a beach and a sunset, and
So like you know the feeling, right? You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about?
yeah. Actually, I kind of
sort of.
I kind of do. I there was one moment that I think I mentioned it on one of our episodes, but my ex stepdad used to work for Athlon Sports, and he would photograph. He would be on the side for Titans games, and I would go to a handful of them, and I would just mainly be hanging out with the camera, pretending like I was a photographer. I really was just there to just hang out on the sidelines and watch the game. But there was one game where Keith Bullock, and I can't remember who, but they ended up breaking out in a fight right on the sidelines. and they have a little yellow area where you can't cross, and I was right at the very corner of it, and it was right here, and I instantly just froze, and I was just like I was thinking like, okay, I should probably get away, but I was just completely frozen at these two giant, Clash of the Titans squaring off on the sidelines right in front of me, so it's like, yeah, when you got somebody like right there at you, just all of a sudden erupting, like you don't know how you're going to act, like when I was at the camp and Jeffrey Simmons broke out on Buck on the radio, it was like, whoa, nobody saw that coming, everybody just kind of froze. So,
well, and like, what else are you going to do? Like a man twice your size is charging at you. You're going to square up and fight him? Like, what options do you have, Lay down, curl on the floor, like fetal position?
Fetal position, yeah.
I feel like your options are limited.
We have a weak spot, Kelsey. You go for the gonads.
Yeah. There you go.
That's true.
The mommy daddy
I just
button.
don't think I'd be able to think that quick. I think I would just freeze and just hope for the best.
Yeah, that's
plan for the worst.
But Joel Embiid, he knows better than to do that. I mean, that's
it's
ridiculous,
a regular season game in December, bro.
He's ridiculous anyway. That guy, he's just
like, you're an MVP. Stuff. Don't do that. Can we just maybe say that? It's been 5 minutes. No one said that yet. So maybe I'll volunteer that information up. How about you do not do that? Don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
Like
the NBA is like struggling for ratings. Maybe he did it for ratings. Hey, maybe now people tune in.
For Sports Idiot.
He saw what happened. Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about it now, so
it's right.
Someone's going to listen to this and be like, maybe I should start watching.
Joel Embiid's a genius.
Mission
maybe
accomplished.
I should watch the NBA on Christmas because only 5 million people did, but everyone's watching NFL.
Hey, they said that was their best viewership in a long time too. So I mean.
Well, that
it
game
is what it is. It's like the tweet the guy said. I can't remember what his name was, but on the Facebook he's like America would watch Panthers versus Giants over the NBA Finals. I mean, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
They really would still tune in.
We'll get into that. We're gonna set something up that's gonna be really, really juicy later. So you gotta stay tuned again. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow on social media wherever you get your social media. And check out the awesome shirts. The link is in the description. Also, to find Kelsey, the link is in there for Kouch Chronicles. We are shifting back to the foosball because foosball not the devil. College football. So I know, Kelsey, it's not your big thing. So you definitely don't know this, I would assume. I'll admit I was talking to my cousin, who I am starting a show with him called How It's Related that will come out January 1st. So very, very soon. It's about music. So for you music lovers, also shout out to our episode. Miles, I'm putting you on the spot. Talk to Me. Do you remember what episode number that is? So that if you are a music fan, besides checking out How It's Related, do you remember the number?
Is that they're all starting to blend. Is that
I know
43? God.
Not episode 43.
No, not 43, because it was a while
in the
back.
31. Was it 31? You got me. I was so good at this, Kelsey. I had everything down to the 8.
Yeah. I did put you on the spot.
What happened? You're losing it.
But shout out to that episode.
It's called Sing to Me, and it is episode 33.
33.
I knew it off the top of my head.
Shout out to episode 33. If you are a music fan, check that out. And then check out How It's Related for the podcast about music with my cousin. And I mentioned my cousin because I was telling him he is also not into college football. And I was at the bar watching one of the college bowl games, and I see the Snoop Dogg Bowl. Kelsey, are you aware of this?
Is that where he is narrating the whole game or something? What?
That would be nice.
No. So you know the Rose Bowl, right? You know the Sugar Bowl. Okay.
Pop-Tart Bowl.
I was wearing the Rose Bowl. No, this is the Pop-Tart Bowl is a thing. And at the Pop-Tart Bowl, they had a guy wearing a Pop-Tart suit, and he held up a sign that said, "Chase your dreams," and then he went into a fake toaster and died.
I thought that was a dream that I had.
He sacrificed him. So a lot of us have had that dream where a Pop-Tart sacrifices itself
and
for
you're
us.
naked in that gym class.
I remember that. And I
very
thought it was a
common
dream because I don't really watch college football. So like, why was I watching that? Oh
No,
my
that's real
god!
life.
It probably was a dream too. I mean, let's face it, we've all had that
So-
dream.
Yeah,
So
That
common
was the
dream to
Pop-Tart
have,
Bowl.
really.
That was the Pop-Tart Bowl. That legit happened. But even crazier than that was the Snoop Dogg Bowl. And it was Colorado State, and they got crushed, right? Miles, who did they
Yeah,
play?
Miami of Ohio.
Oh,
The other
so-
Miami.
that's
So-
Mac.
They won the Snoop Dogg Bowl, and Snoop Dogg came out, and he was told he had a good time. He didn't
what's
remember.
it called?
I'm sure.
Is it called the Snoop Dogg Bowl, or is it
The
Dude,
Arizona
I'm not
Bowl.
making this up.
It's
so
the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, and they
So he
had the
just
Snoop
bought
Dogg
the
end
rights
zone
to
on
it.
the other side. It's his lowrider going through SoCal.
So
On
is
the
he
CW
required
You think
to
we're
be
making
there?
this up? We are not making this up. This is real. You can Google
Well,
it.
he sponsored it.
Yeah, I
When
mean,
did
they-
this start? Is this a new thing?
Whoever has the most money, and gets a sponsorship, they'll take it.
It's
you know?
yes, it is very
Right,
much
like
a new
Gronk
thing.
has- It's the
And
LA
Snoop
Bowl
Dogg is
presented
like
by Gronk.
required to be there.
Well, they pay him a lot,
Sure.
So
He
wouldn't
probably
you go?
eats it up. He loves it, I'm sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the attention. I mean, Snoop Dogg's on T-Mobile. Like, I have T-Mobile. Like, he is my sponsor for my phone. Like,
Those commercials get on my nerves, so
Yeah.
man, they drive me
They
crazy.
do.
Adam is your daddy. Snoop Dogg is your daddy.
so
He's on The Voice now too.
yeah, Snoop is everywhere. Like, he needs more money. Like, Gin and Juice
He's a
didn't make
elf.
enough.
He has an elf on the shelf, Snoop on the stoop, I think it's called.
Yeah, Snoop-a-Loop on the stoop. Yep.
He has a kid. He has a kid's book, has a kid's album, I think.
He has reggae.
I'm honestly
He's
stuck on
Lion.
I'm still stuck on the Pop-Tart thing. I cannot
Well,
believe that was not a
You're
dream.
kind of glazed over right now. You're like,
Yeah, so they
Pop-Tart.
get to, so they like the winner gets
See
to
what
like
you did there.
choose the flavor in the end. They like let them choose
Oh,
the
maple and
flavor or
brown
whatever
sugar.
that like sticks around for a year or whatever. I don't know.
Maple
what
and
the
brown
whole thing
sugar.
is. And then they proceed to like make a giant Pop-Tart and they wheel it out, and all the football players start eating out of it like this,
It's edible.
like ceremonial like trough,
and
of
the
Pop-Tart.
the trophy is a real toaster. You can make real Pop-Tarts in the trophy in the
Whose
chrome.
idea was this? Like who thought of this idea?
Somebody
And then
who
how
was-
like many levels of approval did it have to go through?
Somebody
like
who was stoned out of their
Kellogg.
Board of
mind. Somebody who was
directors out to
stoned out of their
lunch.
mind eating Pop-Tarts
Oh,
was like,
Well, it's
know
no
what would be
longer
great?
Kellogg.
if
It's
we had
now
like a
Kellanova.
if we
it
had
just
a
feels like too
giant
many people
Pop-Tart.
said yes to this idea.
And those are great
That's-
people.
That's what happens when Pop-Tarts are involved. You get a lot of yeses, not so many no's,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just like 9:17 a.m. for me. That's perfect time to say yes to Pop-Tarts.
It worked. I mean, I bought some Pop-Tarts at the store this weekend. I haven't bought them in a couple months, It worked.
They're making
Pop-Tart
money.
Bowl worked.
See,
Did-
They-
Am I
its
the only
job.
one who doesn't like Pop-Tarts? They're so dry.
Yeah.
Well,
there's
once
a,
you put
there's a
them
lot
in
of
the
flavors
toaster-
though. A lot of new flavors. You might find the right flavor for you.
You know what
Yeah.
else has a lot of flavors? Oreos. They should do an Oreo bowl.
There should be an Oreo versus
Um,
Pop-Tart bowl.
I like it.
man, they're
Because you got the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, which that makes no sense. But I
That's a
like
lot
that.
of Oreos.
You should suggest it, Kelsey, the Oreo Bowl. I'm
Honestly,
down for the cause.
I don't know why I'm not in charge of this yet.
right.
All right. Project
We'll
2025.
make
right
it
there.
happen.
There's only
Real bowl.
175 bowl games. They can just make a new one.
Yeah, they could have an Oreo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
So
also
make it
flows
happen.
better.
that's right.
Oreo?
bowl.
Oreo Bowl. I
Oreo
dig it.
Bowl.
You put Oreos in a bowl. You can do that.
Yeah,
And the
there's
winner-
a
so-
literal cereal called
The tr-
Oreo-O's.
Yeah,
It's
the
like
trophy
Oreos.
is my kid has some. There's some in my cabinet. I
See?
may or may not ate some the other night
Yeah,
at like
after
two in the
you're
morning.
bored of Cinnamon Toast Crunch
be.
and Reese's Puffs and like how many literal dessert cereals do we need is the question.
The Cheerios are crazy. You go down the Cheerios aisle, it's like what? There's like
19
17
different-
different ones. It's like that Mitch Hedberg joke. It's like somebody
Cookie
should have told the Cheerios we liked them the way they were. Like when he's talking about turkey ham, he's like just
That
turkey
bee
ham,
is
turkey
insecure.
bacon. He's like somebody should just told the turkey we liked him the way he was. That's what
Doesn't
I
have to
think every
branch
time
out.
I see the Cheerios. It's like, my
Yeah.
God, do you really need strawberry milkshake Cheerios? Like, what is going on here?
Endless options, really.
Those options. We have completely
What a
derailed.
world.
We're now talking about breakfast cereal.
Kelsey again
This
has a
is
front
what
row
we
seat
do.
to our show being derailed. So you're
This
welcome.
is
That's what we do.
I have such bad ADHD. This is like the only way that I know how to have conversations. So this
You're
is
in heaven right
perfect.
now.
Yeah.
All right. So with lots of football comes lots of gambling on football. So I have some fun gambling stories. So Kelsey, you lived in Indiana for quite a few years. Did you hear about the couple from Indiana with the winning lottery ticket? Have you heard this one?
I have not.
Okay, so this past week, over $1 million winner lottery on a lottery ticket. This couple on Christmas with 4 hours to spare in order to claim it found their winning ticket in between their car seats. The worst possible, where you get your fingers like
On
you need
Christmas
a female
Eve,
because she has
was
smaller
this
hands.
Christmas
You're like,
Eve? You said that they find this.
so
this happened.
it was December 26th was when
Oh,
the
okay.
time was going to run out, and they had 4 hours to spare, and they have been searching from what I would think like a week or so at least, right? Because you have ample time, I would
This-
assume.
This sounds like
Now-
a Lifetime Christmas movie. Doesn't even seem
Right?
real.
What
Doesn't even
like
seem real.
I don't think I've ever raced against the clock, which with that sheer flop sweat, the way that these people must have, other than trying to get an assignment done because I procrastinate so much in school years ago. Have you guys ever gone through anything like that, finding something that valuable with 4 hours to spare?
Yeah, dude. I misplace my $1 million lottery tickets every week. It just happens every single week, you know?
I just
Yeah,
don't have
of
the
course.
Still have yet
numbers.
to
I
find
mean,
one.
Never
that's
in
why
my
I
life-
haven't won. That's why I haven't won the lottery yet, 'cause I always misplace my winning $1 million lottery ticket.
It's every
Yeah,
time.
I've simply never had anything that valuable ever in my life.
Right,
So
right.
I can't relate to that one, but
Can you imagine the things that they were saying to each other? You know, they're like, I told you
We
to
don't
put it
find
in the,
this.
I
We're
told you to put it
divorcing.
in the damn glove compartment. Well,
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was a good spot. Well, great. Now I can't remember where it is, and it's all your fault. And oh man, I just know the things they said. I know
Wait.
In the worst spot.
You know,
You drop there was a bit by Kevin James where he goes to Taco Bell and he's like, it's all about the little things. I went to Taco Bell and I got excited because I had exact change. 2037. I'm like, and then I dropped 2 pennies. Nope, hold on. It's in between the seat. Nope. Kevin, you're going to have to wait. I got it. Holding up the line, trying to get his fingers in between the seats. Like, that's the worst spot ever.
you can't give them. You can't give them the money with the change on it. It's got to be a two-step process. You know, here's the bills, and here's the change. You know,
Right.
It's always going to happen. That's a rookie mistake by Kevin James.
Like,
Rookie
how
mistake.
do you I don't know how they got him,
But
how they found him. But
I'm confused.
Smart
So they had the lottery ticket. They saw the numbers. They saw that they won and then they lost it, or they
Well,
lost it and then they were
I
like,
think they
we could have
misplaced
won.
it. And
I
it
think
fell in between the
It makes more
seats.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think what happens is once they realize that there has been a winner, it probably happened. They probably were like, whatever, you know, we're not going to win. Who cares? And then they see it hasn't been claimed. And at that point, they're like, well, shit, somebody won. We need to check our tickets, you know? So it probably became, that's probably how it went down, you know?
That makes sense.
I actually, believe it or not, this is why I know I'll never win the lottery, because I actually know a fellow who actually won the lottery. Him and his stepdad and mother won the lottery. They won it. They live 15 minutes from me. I worked with him for 15 years. Well, no, he worked there about 8 years, but I worked with him for a long time. He's a good dude. And basically his mom and stepdad and him just all went and got a lottery ticket and split it. And after it's all said and done, after taxes, they each cashed something like $14 million each. Like, it's freaking insane.
Shite.
You would
Yeah.
never see me again. Nobody would
Yeah.
ever see me again.
Yeah, his dad was a probation officer. Stepdad was a probation officer. And he was like, all right, so I'm not gonna-
anymore. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not going to accept this check here, so I need you to go do that. So like he's down there accepting this check, but he's a good dude. He was a good dude. Like, I'm glad he won it. They were just normal people. They weren't like, you know, they're not living about among their means or anything like that. Like, he did go buy some crazy stuff because he was finally like had $14 million. So why would you not? But like he built this whole, he was obsessed with Game of Thrones. So he built this whole like movie room that was like, looked like a castle or something. And it was like, only you would take your freaking lottery winnings and go build a Game of Thrones room to watch Game of Thrones in, you know. But anyway, shout out to Flash. I nickname Flash because he's not very fast. He's the opposite of Flash.
But rich.
But he's rich.
Very rich.
He's rich. Legit. So I know I will never win the lottery. So one, I do know the lottery is real. And I know that I'll never win it because I know somebody who's won it. And the odds of that are just, that should be a prize in itself to know someone who won the lottery.
Yeah, you can't have two people that you know who have won.
We have the same name too, so it's like definitely not happening for me.
Titans idiot.
Yeah, exactly. That is his name. His name is that.
Wow, that is a bigger coincidence than I would have imagined.
He was the guy. He was the guy I told.
Clifford.
He was the guy that I went to the Jets game with years ago. I told you guys. This episode we had Adriana on where the Jets guys kept waving their towels and hitting us with us, you know. And he turned around to him. He was like, "You know what?" He was like, "Terrorists wouldn't even fucking touch New Jersey." those two Jets fans started cracking up, dude. They thought it was so hilarious. But yeah, it was that dude. That's the guy who won the lottery.
Good one.
Yeah, it is a good one.
Your state sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Not even the Middle Easterners want that. And I've been to the Middle East. That place blows. But they won't even go to New Jersey.
Terrorists are like, nah, we're gonna nothing to destroy here. We're gonna skip over New Jersey. These people suffered enough. But anyway, I can't imagine having a winning lottery ticket in your in between your seats, and then what if you didn't find it? Ooh, you find it like a year later.
Late.
Oh,
so that's
you won the lottery a year ago.
That's an interesting feeling because also it's been reported that Lil Baby, the rapper, not Miles's daughter, who is a little baby, but I can't imagine this. There was a time frame of about a month straight. This casino has closed in Fort Wayne since, but you guys are my witnesses. I was texting you a couple times a week saying that I've hit him for 1,000 here, 3,000 here. I had some big wins, but Lil Baby.
And then those texts stopped.
Yeah. Well, and they did close, but Vegas cleaned me out pretty good. Shout out to that was early on.
They're like, here, man, we feel sorry for you. Here's a free buffet card. Just leave, please.
Yeah, was it episode 9 you said, Miles?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, where I had to do the recording from Vegas. That was super fun. Anyway, Lil Baby has asked to be banned from all casinos because in a 48-hour period, he lost $8 million. I Googled his net worth. It said $8 million. So I'm like, wait a minute. Please don't tell me that his entire net worth was gambled and lost. Please don't tell me that. I don't know much about Lil Baby. I know 2 of his songs. Dear Lord, please don't tell me that. That is kind of hilarious, but it makes you make a face like Kelsey did 3 seconds ago.
That's called the fuck face.
Yeah. It's a bad
Can
move.
you imagine? I'm just trying to imagine having $8 million to begin with, because that's a whole nother.
Win the lottery.
Come on, find your ticket.
Now I can't, because now he knows
stuck
me.
in the seat.
You can't know 2 people that won the lottery.
Yeah, it's in between the seats. She may have already won the lottery. It's in between her seats. She hadn't been able to get it out.
Guys, let's be honest. She's won the lottery. Look who she's hanging with.
That's true.
Right
also,
now.
That's the best point you've ever made.
Have you seen my quarterback?
We do look like a bunch of bill collectors. That's what we look like.
All right.
No, I feel very lucky to be here, but I feel even luckier that Joe Burrow is my quarterback. So that is enough of a lottery win for me.
I bet you're grateful for your defense too.
Putting up some crazy numbers.
Yeah, your defense is hideous. They
had their moments on Saturday.
Their moments? Oh, on Saturday. You're just talking Saturday.
Just Saturday.
When the game ran out and they went into the locker room, that was a good moment for them. When the game ended and they won.
Okay, stop, you guys, please.
All right. So we bragged about you being Miss AFC North. Like, oh, Miss AFC North, here she comes. So here's
Is
what I
that
want
like
to
is
do.
that like Miss Teen Alabama with like maps? Like
Well,
no,
I
South
think
Carolina,
Kelsey
Miss
would.
Teen South Carolina. Therefore, like as they don't have maps, so they can't find
Such
it on the
as-
map. The reason why they can't find the country
Such
on the
as-
maps is because they don't have maps. Anyway, let's please continue,
So
Miss
she could not
AFC
complete her
North.
duties. She cheers for
Yeah.
a team in the AFC North.
Yes.
She's
So
Miss AFC North.
what I wanted to do was, I really think the storyline of the last quarter of the NFL season really truly is the AFC North and how everything is shaken out there. The Ravens, can you trust them? Yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. Lamar, great in the regular season. Are we going to trust him in the playoffs? Is he going to be the MVP? And then you have the Steelers, who find a way to have a winning record, or a non-losing record, I should say, every single year. They just find a way. I'm sure that's a bane of your existence, Kelsey. I get it. And then the Bengals find a way to underperform. They have a good roster. And then the Cleveland Bums, that's a whole different thing. But the AFC North has just become a huge storyline. And we've talked about on this show the NFC North. And so what I want to find out, I want to have Miles and Kelsey go at it here a little bit. I want to find out truly who is the best division. Is it the AFC North or the NFC North? So we will humbly let our guest go last. So I will start with Miles. I want to find out, as first of all, the Minnesota Green Bay game. I know it goes down in the paper as a 2-point victory. However, they were down 3 scores in the fourth quarter. And in the fourth quarter, the Vikings did not score. And even when the Packers cut it to 2, it was basically at the end of the game just to make it look cute. So it wasn't a situation where, oh my gosh, it was a nail biter. It truly wasn't. And you look at the numbers, Sam Darnold over Jordan Love, for sure, if you just look at the numbers. So having said that, and then throw everything else, I know my Niners take on the Lions later tonight, and that is I'm not excited. But NFC North, take it away, Miles.
NFC North has 3 teams at this moment on Monday morning with a combined 38 wins. Lions win tonight. There's a guaranteed 1 extra win in Week 18, barring a tie, and maybe even another win by Green Bay. We're looking at, for the top 3 teams, 40, maybe 41 combined wins. Do the quick math. That's over 13 wins average for the top 3 teams. On top of that, they have not 1, not 2, but 3 teams that are better than the best team in the AFC North. Yeah, I said that. Green Bay is better than Baltimore. More consistent. Honestly, look at the teams they lost. All in-house. 1 weird game down in that country right there to start the year in a random-ass soccer stadium. And then we look at who you got at the top. The best team in the NFL, because it ain't the Chiefs, might finish 5th in the AFC standings by how the playoff seeding goes. That's insane. Not to mention, go one step down, Minnesota, who could be the 1 seed and the second best team in the division, honestly, has, yep, you got it right, the best receiver in the NFL. It ain't Jamar Chase. Look who he catches pass from. Yeah, you like that.
Oh, no.
And Green Bay, I'm not done. I'm not done. And then you have Green Bay, who has a game manager of a quarterback, not an elite quarterback, sitting 3rd in the standings, like you know who, in Cincinnati. And he hasn't blown it up. You have Josh Jacobs, who's played like one of the top 5 running backs in the league. And then you look at, their schedule's not that tough. They just either beat up on each other, or they only win games in-house. Look at the team in their conference that they had the cross-division games with, the NFC West. The Lions, the Vikings, and the Packers have combined to go 11-1 against the NFC West. And the NFC West is not a complete joke. You got the Rams at 10 wins. Seattle might miss the playoffs, still a team with a winning record. The Cardinals have been shockingly decent. And, well, the Niners at one point earlier this year were fully stocked. And, well, the Vikings beat that team in week 2. So there is no comparison. The NFC North is not only better than the AFC North, it's not only the best division in the NFL this year, it is one of the best divisions in NFL history. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Wow.
Well, counselor, yikes. I didn't know it was going to come that hard, Kelsey. I do apologize.
Should
That
have
was
been
that
It
was
was
a
rough.
lot, pretty
What-
aggressive, a lot of confidence there. I mean, when you really, really think about it, there's a lot of different categories that we could go off of, like which conference is the more entertaining conference, which division has the better quarterbacks. And I feel like when you have Lamar and Joe Burrow in the same division, how do you beat that? Like, how do you beat that? Those two are both, in my opinion, MVP contenders. I think Joe Burrow is an MVP contender. I know the team is not winning, but statistically, he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Also, if we look at the uniforms, I think that the NFC North uniforms are just not as good as the AFC North uniforms. They're just not. Yeah, I think that the AFC North is a more entertaining division. And I think that even though they're both good divisions, the likelihood that an AFC North team actually wins the Super Bowl is higher. I think that NFC North is good. They're consistent. They win games. They're going to make the playoffs. They have all that going for them. But will they win the Super Bowl? I don't think so. And I think now I've been rooting for the Lions, okay? My roommate's a big Lions fan. I like them. I love Dan Campbell. But with half their team injured right now, I don't know if they're going to do it. I think the Ravens can do it. I don't think the Steelers can do it, but I think the Ravens can do it. I don't see the Vikings or the Packers winning the Super Bowl. I think that the Super Bowl winner is going to come from the AFC. I just do. So with all of that being said, my argument might not be as solid as yours. I don't know all the numbers and everything. I know the Bengals have a losing record. Like I know that they're not the best this year, but when you look at the quarterbacks, the entertainment level, and the uniforms,
Ooh,
AFC North.
I love
uniforms.
that.
Uniforms.
I did not see that coming. Just the way that I didn't see your
Uniforms.
cat.
She got us.
coming
She
there
got us.
either.
Yeah.
She got us.
Oh,
on
also,
uniforms.
I have 2 cats. Their names are Joey and B, if you're wondering, for Joe Burrow. This is B.
What's interesting
Of
is we
course.
weren't even wondering. That's
I
the most
feel like
interesting
I
part
feel
of
like
that.
maybe you were, but you know.
I have
Gorgeous pussy cat.
I have 2 cats named Pickles and Tomato, and they're named after pickles and tomatoes.
Creative.
Oh, that's what
So,
they're named after. Good.
Yeah, I didn't name
Well,
them. My son
I
named
do
them
want
when he
to
was in
follow up,
kindergarten.
but before we go off too much into the land of cat litter,
Cats.
I do want to follow up. It's interesting you bring up that you have more confidence in a team from the AFC North when you have Buffalo and what's that team that wears red that always just
Yeah, how's their
finds a
uniforms
way
look?
to win?
The team we don't speak
that
of.
number 1-5. that guy has a 1-5
Burrowhead.
for yeah,
The Arizona
I
Cardinals,
think
right?
15 wins.
I'm not saying that the AFC North is going to win the Super Bowl, but I do think it will be an AFC team for sure. I think that the Bills
Oh.
will do it.
But that's not our debate here. It's what
Well,
division is the
I'm
best.
just saying the NFC North is not going to win the Super Bowl. So if
Okay.
I don't know. I know the Vikings and Green Bay have a great rivalry. That's always fun to watch. Like that's great. But I just feel like the AFC North it's just more entertaining. Anything can happen at any point. Like all these teams are so chaotic all the time. It's more entertaining. It's more fun to watch. You have Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. It doesn't get much better than that. I mean, Josh Allen and Mahomes are up there, but they're also AFC. So I don't know. I think that the NFC North is really good this year, but in the grand scheme of things, historically, I think that the AFC North has been better, and you simply cannot get better than Joe Burrow. You just can't. That's facts.
Burrowhead.
Josh Allen
And
and
the
Patrick
colors.
I know
Mahomes.
what she means
because-
though about she's
Yeah.
talking about how like the level of play and just the rivalry, like watching the Ravens and the Bengals go at it. It reminds me a lot of when I watched Titans versus Jaguars. You know, I mean,
But
just
that means, with
super,
that argument of the
super
quarterbacks being so good,
super
No.
those
intense,
three
and
NFC, those three NFC
Yeah.
North teams are more complete. Like,
Yeah.
they don't need an elite quarterback to be doing what they're doing. It takes one bad game from Joe Burrow, and we know a bad game from Lamar is coming because it always does, and they're done. They're absolutely done. Whereas the Lions, you talk about you're not sure they're coming back. They're going to be a lot healthier come playoff time, especially if they do get that bye. Hutch is going to be back. That team is not going to look like they did against Buffalo. That defense is going to look way different, and they are dangerous. The Lions are very, very, very good. And again, they
Yeah.
might be the 5 seed. And that I would not want to be that. Would it be NFC South champion if you have to play either Minnesota or Detroit in the first round? Bye.
I
NFC
don't
South.
disagree with you. I don't disagree. And I hope the Lions come back strong. I hope they make it. Like, if my Bengals aren't going to the Super Bowl, I want the Lions to win it all. But yeah, I just
for
think
Kristen
that
too.
yeah. She's like diehard Lions fan. So I'm rooting for her. I love Dan Campbell. I love the team. I feel like that team has a very like family vibe to them, which I love. But I just think in general, the AFC North is more entertaining. There's more rivalries. Like, I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like Vikings and Green Bay are like the biggest rivalry in that division. Where in the AFC North, everyone hates a different team more. Like, the Bengals hate the Steelers the most. I think the Steelers hate the Ravens the most. Like, there's not like one set rivalry. It's kind of all one big rivalry.
To your argument there, the biggest rivalry in the NFC North is Chicago Green Bay. Well, Chicago is nowhere to be found. So
Yeah.
They
that's a
just
fair
suck.
argument. But again, that just because it's a better historic rivalries or they're all just a cluster, the NFC North is still the better division. Like, that's what it comes down to. They are a
This
better
year.
division. This
Yeah.
year, yeah. And that's what I'm arguing. This year, it's the better division, and that's what I'm debating.
I don't.
so he
Yeah,
has-
if we're talking
on a
this year,
technicality.
I don't know if I have a solid argument against that. As much as I want to
At least
say
two
that my Bengals are the best team,
jerseys.
like, I know they're not. I know they're
Uniforms.
not.
Uniforms.
But
The uniforms.
49ers are the
Uniforms.
best.
You can
the other
argue
thing that's hard
uniforms.
is like, yeah, uniforms. Though we definitely have you beat there.
There you go.
It's also hard for me because I hate the Steelers. I hate them so much
As you should.
that
As
it's
you
hard
should.
for me to like have them in my argument on why we're
Why
better.
they're good.
Because I don't like them, and I don't think
Sure.
they're that good. I actually don't think the Steelers are that
They're
good.
not.
I
They're
think they
smoke and
get by
mirrors.
all season. They win all these games. They tank in the playoffs every single year. They should never even be in the playoffs, and somehow they make it every year. But
And
I feel like I'm
Jersey's
fighting
so
against
good.
myself now. Like,
Yeah,
I'm on
yeah.
your side, actually.
Which- but
Jersey's so good they copied Iowa's. Like, I don't see
Yeah.
that because the Ravens are ugly. The Steelers are the University of Iowa, and the Browns are, well, they're brown and orange.
The Bengals
So,
alone carry the uniform argument. They're all whites with the white helmets. Hands down, the best uniform in the entire league. See? You can't beat a Bengals uniform.
The best 85 in Bengals history right there, mind you.
Oh,
Well-
not
Oh.
Rico.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Listen, I love Tyler Eifert, but you're telling me Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, I mean,
No, Tyler was more skilled. He just got hurt. No, Tyler was a better pass catcher. Yes, absolutely.
you sound like every guy ever who's
Tyler
like, oh
didn't
yeah, I would have gone to the
sombrero.
NFL if I didn't get hurt. I tore my hamstring in high school, so I couldn't go pro.
I'm
could've
only
went-
5'10".
We could have won state. The coach would have put me in. We could have won state.
yeah.
We'll
So,
throw
all right,
football over
let's-
that mountain.
But arguing for someone else.
We talked a little bit about the Browns and Bears being nowhere to be found. So I want to find out then who would lose. And we talked about the NBA.
Between the Browns and the Bears.
Yeah, dude, because we talked about if the
Ooh.
Super Bowl
Who's-
was the Browns and the Bears, I think the ratings would still be way higher than a LeBron game on Christmas, which is just ridiculous. But I want to hear some real sound arguments of who would lose, Bears, and we're saying the rosters now because, man, Jameis adds a little fun kick to things with the Browns, and
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know,
why they
like,
got 3 wins. You're right. He adds a lot there. He adds a whole lot. He adds like
So
5
who
more
sucks
interceptions
worse?
a game. That's what he does. Who
It's-
sucks
it's
worse?
interesting.
Can I wear
man.
this shirt around easier? Can I wear this around a Browns fan or a Bears fan. Again, go to
Browns
our show
fans
notes.
probably want one that says "My team sucks." They probably just want to wear that shirt that says "My team sucks."
See,
But,
I feel like
who would win that? I would say the Browns probably win that because they're just. I don't know. It's just
They win the game.
I don't believe. Well, if we're talking about the misfortunate Super Bowl matchup of the Browns and the Bears, yeah, I'm going to say the Browns win that Super Bowl. You know,
that's interesting.
I mean, come on. You know, we've seen the Bears. Like, I mean, they're the same team. The Browns and the Bears are the same team right now. You know?
They're both bad. I think that the Browns had higher expectations going into the season, so I feel like it was more of a letdown for Browns fans.
The Bears did too, with Keenan Allen and Odunze, all their running backs. Their defense is getting better, and then Caleb Williams was Jesus, supposedly.
You know, I actually have a lot of Bears players on my fantasy team, and they were really good. They were good.
How'd you do in your season?
I got 3rd place.
So, okay. Oh, that's not terrible.
I thought she was going to say I have a lot of Bears players in my DMs right now. No. I thought that was where that was going.
No.
I'd believe it.
But
Caleb Williams would not be one of them, though. You know, he might be a mile.
Who has nicer nails,
now, but
Kelsey or Caleb?
Or Caleb. I don't know.
He paints his nails.
Have to see.
He does? Mine aren't even painted right now, so probably him.
He did. I don't know if he still does, but he was. He was.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. You know?
I think I would pick the Bears to win that game.
Ooh, Bears! There we go.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how bad.
I think the Browns do suck harder, but the Bears, like, they will figure out a way to give that game away. Yeah. The Bears will be the better team. Nah, it'll be a tie. It'll be a tie.
I was at the Bengals Browns game a couple weeks ago, and they're really bad. They're really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're on the 1-yard line and they fumble it. Like, I don't know how you can lose to the Browns.
Well,
Titans
have lost to the Jaguars twice, so you know.
The eye test. They did not pass our eye test.
So
I think the Bears have more weapons.
Kelsey,
do they know how to use them? No.
Bears do have more weapons.
They know how to use weapons in Chicago.
Just have a quarterback whose decision making is above his pay grade. You know.
Here's the thing, Kelsey, that you have to remember. T.I. is going to say that because he had to witness. Now, he wasn't there in person, but he had to witness his team lose to the Bears. Because in was it 2 or 1? Week 1, it was Titans-Bears. And all these Titans fans beating their chest. They got Will Levis.
It was 17-0 at halftime. We had it. It was in the wrap. I mean,
that's even worse.
It's just a block punt. I mean, block punt sealed the deal.
And Will Levis throwing a no look behind the back pass, trying to.
I mean, we still could have won though, even with all that nonsense. Still could have won if you just
still found a way to lose.
Job and don't block a punt. I mean, come on, they allowed 2 block punts in back-to-back opening games of the season. I mean,
yeah, that's rough.
Who does that?
Are you okay?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to figure out a way I can wrap this around my throat.
You should
choke myself with it.
You should consider therapy. I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe.
Welcome to Sports City Nation. So that is one thing. I think
a lot cheaper than therapy.
Yeah,
it's probably more. It's more detrimental, but it's a lot cheaper. So you have to weigh out the pros and cons.
It's cheaper in that you actually make money if more people will buy these shirts. So head over to our description in the show notes here, the printable link that you can get these shirts. You can get all kinds of different gear. There's hoodies and tank tops. I know you're into hoodies, Kelsey, because a little birdie told me. So I'm not wearing it because I wore this for you, but I do have our hoodie, all different colors. So be sure to check that out. Also follow us wherever you get your social media. And
Mayday, Mayday. Cover your brains, boys and girls. Put on your tinfoil hats because this is Idiot of the Week.
All right, you idiots and sinners. This week's idiot is yet another quitter. They're just dropping everywhere. Cam Ward, Miami. supposedly a top 5 pick in the 2025 NFL draft, announced he was going to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. A little surprising, but of course, he was going for a record. We talked about that earlier. Cam Ward breaks Case Keenum's all-time touchdown record. And then after that, is he going to go lead Miami to their first bowl win in well over a decade? Nah, Coach, I'm good. I'm done at halftime. Cam Ward quits on the team. Game's tied. What's the final score? 42-41, Iowa State. Miami Hurricanes, 6 straight losses thanks to your boy Cam quitting on his team. He knows how to put the I in loss. Cam Ward, you the idiot of the week.
There you go.
Dude, it's so funny to lose by one.
I would not have, Coach should not have let him eat any of the Pop-Tart. He'd be like, nope, sorry, you don't get the giant Pop-Tart. You have to go buy your own Pop-Tarts and make your own toaster at home. Quitter.
What is
It's
an
just
NFL
that's
team
not a
supposed to
team
do?
player. What NFL team is going to want someone who quits on their team? Like, they're not a team player. I just feel like that would leave a very bad taste in my mouth.
Well, it's really disgusting how college football is really going the way of the NFL now. The reason I always liked college football more than the NFL was because it was more of a team sport. They played for each other. They played for their school. They even played for their family. The NFL, they played for a paycheck and ultimately themselves. And that's the way college football is becoming between NIL and the transfer portal and now the ability to opt out of these bowl games. It's ruining postseason football. God, I grew up loving bowl season, but now it's like half the team's no longer on the roster, whether they opt to declare for the NFL draft or they're hitting the portal early to transfer to another school for the spring semester to get those practices in March or April. I can't stand it. And another thing too, I pulled up a stat here. Miami was fighting for their first 11-win season since 2003. Cam Ward, obviously, fighting for himself and being a high draft pick because he wanted to protect himself, but you got to get that record first.
Yeah, that's what's BS. Like, you're not going to protect yourself, so you're going to play. But as soon as the record is truly there, then... So, do you think that he'd be okay with someone beating his record?
Him, definitely not.
Right. And someone would have to finish the full game to get it in. Like
Well, and with
That is
college
ridiculous,
football now,
dude.
and they count all the playoff games, someone's going to blast that record within the next probably 5 years. And now players are getting like 17 years of eligibility. They're playing until they're like 42 years old. We talked about that on a prior episode. Someone's probably going to get almost double that record at some point in the future. So it's like, dude, you just embarrassed yourself. I do not want him to be a Tennessee Titan, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Kelsey, when's your flight back to Ball State? You have another year, right? You're going to add to your soccer goals.
Put me in, Coach. If I tried to go and play a soccer game right now, I would tear every muscle in my body. There's just no way. But if I could, no, I still wouldn't. I wouldn't. Who am I kidding? I'm done.
She's in San Diego. She wouldn't go back to Muncie, Indiana.
Yeah.
You see her, Clark?
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to
Harvard.
do that.
Muncie is the Harvard of Indiana, right? Or what is that joke? Ball State is the Harvard of Muncie? I don't know.
Ball State is the only thing in Muncie. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
joke.
it could be.
I thought David Letterman,
thought it was funny,
is the
like-
most famous guy to go is David Letterman. And I thought he said Muncie is, or Ball State is the Harvard of Indiana. Or, man, I can't remember, but
I
he
feel like I
said
know what you're
something
talking
that
about.
Or 3
Yeah,
a.m.
he said it, not me. I just am the one that butchered it. I don't know.
You just had to say "boom goes the dynamite" at that point. That's what you say. Just say "boom goes the dynamite."
That's what I
Pass it
have
to
you
the
for.
man.
Yeah.
So
No, I was talking about going from like San Diego back to Indiana. I always used to laugh because like when Nick Saban, left the Dolphins, and he's like, "I'm not leaving Miami." Like, no, I'm not. I'm staying here, and everything. And then the very next day, it's like he's head coach at Alabama. I was just like imagining that conversation with his wife. It's like, "Hey, honey, I need to talk to you about the other thing you probably saw on TV." It's just like, so we're moving from Miami to Alabama. I'm excited about that. They can't. All the money in the world probably couldn't make up for how excited she was to have to move from Miami to Alabama.
Yeah, not ideal.
So did you
I
guys
haven't been to
see?
that Indiana spot that you're thinking of, but I'm sure it's probably a lot like most parts of Alabama.
Ball State is the
Fair.
Harvard of Muncie. That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm almost positive
Well,
that
yeah, it's there's
and that makes
that's
sense.
all that there is in Muncie. So, yep.
Yeah.
I mean, every other
Harvard.
school in Muncie is a high school. So,
High school.
of course, you would hope that the college is the Harvard of the high schools.
Yeah.
It's
Not,
a
there's a
glorified high
problem.
school, I guess.
Not, there is a problem. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. So we were talking about Nick Saban. Here's something. Did you guys see when IU? I think it started here when IU played Notre Dame, and Shane Gillis was on the pregame with Nick Saban, and they were talking, and he called him Ti. What did he call him?
Call him Alabama Jones.
Yeah, because
You know,
Nick Saban
'cause
on the
his-
set
Because he had his
was
little
wearing
hat
this
on,
like
you know?
Harrison Ford hat, like Indiana Jones, and so Shane Gillis called him, "Well, hold on, Alabama Jones." So funny. And now there was like a tiff between them, and then Nick Saban on either a podcast or some interview, he said, "Well, yeah, I'm not too fond of Shane Gillis, but my daughter loves him, so that's his saving grace. That someone in my family actually likes that guy." Like,
Yeah.
he was definitely
like,
throwing him under the
at
bus.
least somebody in my family likes him, you know?
Yeah.
Just pretty hilarious.
I'm like, oh, it's awkward when they're like sitting right there next to each other, and Shane Gillis goes, "This is a fun show, right? Are we doing this?" Like, he didn't know if he could make fun of the guy.
I mean,
Oh
Nick
my-
Saban at this point. I mean, Pat McAfee is
So
doesn't,
serious.
like, meat airplanes into his mouth at this point. Like, I think Nick Saban can just chill on that, you know. He's like, here comes the meat, you know, like, and Nick Saban's like a toddler, like, you know, like, yeah.
Speaking of Pat McAfee, little fun fact for you. A few years ago, I interviewed at Barstool Sports with Pat McAfee.
Oh, wow.
I know. Made it to the final
So,
two.
hold on,
Oh.
walk us through that. Rewind. You can't. You're just gonna like casually, as we're maybe trying to end the show, like, "Oh, okay, bye guys." No.
It was I lived in Indianapolis, and obviously Pat is in Indianapolis, and I had a friend who worked at Barstool, and I wanted to work in sports, which didn't work out for me. I'm still not in sports, but it doesn't matter. I somehow got an interview there, and first two interviews were with people from New York that had flown into the Indy office, so I chatted with them.
To
I
do
saw
what?
Oh, it was for it was a marketing and like sales type role, but mostly marketing, which I have zero experience in. I'm a sales girl. But I convinced them that I could do it. So I went through this interview process with these people from New York. And then the final interview was with Pat, and I had to put together like this whole marketing plan of like what I was going to do for Barstool. I had like this whole t-shirt idea with like local high schools. I don't even remember what I came up with, but it was pretty good. And got to my final interview with Pat, and he asked me right away what my drink of choice was and what type of music I liked, which threw me for a loop because I'm like, is there a right answer? Like, what if I get it wrong? What if he doesn't like the drink that I like? What if he doesn't like the music I like?
Fireball. And just
Not
start
into your head. That was the whole thing.
No, I know.
Into your
And then
mind.
my answer was amaretto sour. I don't know if you guys have had that. He's like, what is that? And I'm like,
What is that?
what is that? I actually don't
Isn't he
even
a
know.
professional drinker?
So
Well,
you want to know what I
because
said?
It's not a whiskey. It's not a tequila. It's not. It's its own. Like, that's
It's its own
probably
thing.
why
Yeah. So I said, oh, it's just like amaretto and
almonds.
Sour.
It's like
That's what I said.
That's all it is. That's really all it is, you know?
Like what
I
else?
mean,
Yeah. I was like, sometimes
that's
they
all it
put
is.
cherries in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
it's-
an ama and a redo.
So,
It's like, what
Almond
do you
Like
flavored
here, I'll write it
liquor, yeah.
down for you. Yeah. So, but I did find out through my friend who worked there that he liked me the best personality wise, but the other guy had more experience. And then he ended up not hiring either one of us, and then he left Barstool shortly after. So I'm not really sure what happened, but very cool experience.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That
That's it.
is pretty
That's
cool.
my story.
And you're sticking
She's
to it.
sticking to it. Yeah.
So again, the link is in the show notes to follow Kelsey. at Kouch Chronicles. So thank you for joining us. Of course, check us out wherever you get your social media at Sports Idiot Nation. Kelsey, we have to get you this, not this exact t-shirt. I want to keep mine, but we got to get you for your bungles, the orange and black. So, and maybe a hoodie too, for sure. Since you love them so much, your cat can hang out in it.
Perfect.
For both of them.
Joey and B.
Mm-hmm. So,
Joey and B.
reminder, Sports Idiot Nation comes to you every Monday and Thursday, which means we will see you Thursday. Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.